Everyone, E back with another action figure review. Today we're going to look at the Haslab Sentinel by Hasbro Marvel Legends. Finally, it has arrived to me. So the top of this measuring tape is where Haslab Galactus will stand. So you can just kind of get an idea of what it would look like next to our Haslab Sentinel. Now don't get confused or get it twisted. If you don't have this figure in hand yet, you really don't know how big the Sentinel is until you get him in hand. Videos don't do it justice. Pictures don't do it justice. No matter at what angle, what figures you put next to him, no matter what you do not grasp the size of this figure in your mind until you actually have him in hand and see him in person. Trust me when I say this, because I was so surprised when I opened that box and pulled him out how big and massive he was. It's insane. And I've seen so many pictures of this figure and I knew it was going to be big, but I was still caught off guard. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that little introduction to the video and got an idea of all the detail and paint on this figure. It's absolutely gorgeous. The sculpt and detail and the paint job that went into this is very, very nice. I love the wirings that they have all over the figure. It gives it that robotic look, and they painted it all throughout, so that's cool. The blue and purple, it's a very nice metallic color, and there's not really any boring spots in the figure, so I really appreciate that. So with that said, we'll get right into the review and right into the articulation, so we don't make a 30-minute to 1 hour video here. I really don't want to make it that long, so let's get right into it. The head is sitting on a ball joint, a massive ball joint. It's a light bulb pretty much, and so that has its pros and cons. You can definitely move it left and right, and you can definitely move it upwards, but moving down is impossible, at least with the regular head. It's not going to move down at all. Zero movement down. It just looks straightforward. Now you can rotate it all the way back around, give them a broken neck or head if you want. But if you half the head, like when I was trying to pop off this head, trying to put on the other heads, I realized that you can kind of half it and have him look up and down a little bit more. Now that gives him a little bit of a longer neck, which doesn't look too terrible, but that's up to you if you if you mind that too much or not. Now our very first bonus tier in the Haslab project was the Master Mold head sculpt. And when you apply this head sculpt, it's a lot more massive than the actual Sentinel head sculpt. Definitely a lot bigger. You could see here, and you can see how big he is how big the head is in my hand. This head, although it is bigger, it actually allows for a lot more range of motion, so you could definitely move it up and down a lot more and side to side a lot more. But it's definitely a very nice piece to the sculpt, and the paintwork that went into this thing is very nice. Now I personally probably won't display him in the Master Mold head, but it's still a cool option to have on display. You could just display the head on your shelf. It looks just fine. Or if you ever want to have a Master Mold for whatever reason, it's there. So a lot of us have a lot of the Toy Biz and the previous Hasbro Sentinels, which are a lot smaller, and this could serve as a Master Mold to those if you wish. But it is worth noting that this head allows for more movement, which is good because Master Mold is bigger, right? So he should be looking down on people. It's not going to look down all the way, but it's it's a little bit. It's a little bit. I mean, if anything, it doesn't move down that much. So you can kind of angle it a little bit to have him look down, but for the most part, it's going to look straightforward, just like the Sentinel. Now, the second tier that was unlocked was the battle damage head and hand accessory for Sentinel. So this just allowed us to give him a more battle damage look, which is awesome. I really like this. It's just a hand and the head, so it gets a little weird when you see the rest of the body being completely clean and brand new and, shining. But what else could they have done? I mean, they really couldn't have given us arm swaps or chest plate swaps. I don't know, maybe, but I'm okay with this. It looks good. The paint job is very nice, and the sculpt work is very nice on this, so this will go well. If you get multiple Sentinels, you can have a little battle scene where one is damaged on the floor, or you could even use this head as a display piece, just the head on the ground. Maybe it got decapitated, or the hand got decapitated, and you can have the hand and the head on the ground while you have a regular Sentinel from behind if you're not going to use this head. A lot of options with this, so I really appreciate the bonus tiers for sure. Now we're going to skip tier number 3 because we're in the accessory category with the heads, because tier 3 was an action figure. But if we go to tier number 4, we unlocked it at 16,000 backers, and that's the Tri-Sentinel alternate head accessory. It's one head with 3 faces on it, so it's the Tri-Sentinel. This is very cool. It's got 3 different faces, and again, if you bought multiple Sentinels, let's say you bought 3, you could definitely display each one with each head if you wish, or if you bought more, hey, who knows, then you can go all out for sure. But this is another cool head. I'll take it. Not really going to use it much for a regular display, but if I ever photograph him and you want to get a Tri-Sentinel head, it's there. The options are there, so it's awesome to have, and it looks great. Each face looks good. My favorite one is the one with the cannon, or like he's about to shoot something from his mouth. That one's very dope. So for the most part, all of these heads have about the same range of motion, with the Master Mold head having the most range since it's bigger, and I guess it has just a deeper gap there between the head and the neck. Continuing on with our accessories, I believe there was only one tendril in the beginning of this campaign, and I can't remember how we got our second tendril. I don't know if that came with the Prime Sentinel figure or not, or one of the heads. I just can't think of it right now, but I could have swore we only saw one tendril for the longest time, and then finally we got the second one. However way that came, I don't know, or maybe they just threw it in at the end. I'm pretty sure it came in with one of the bonus tiers. So yeah, you have 2 super long tendrils, which is cool, and you can peg it into his hand. He's got 2 big peg holes in his hands, and those peg in right in, and they actually hold the whole figure weight. The weight of a figure is hell. It's very strong bendy wires inside, so no issues there. I'll leave the figures for the end of the video since we want to focus on the Sentinel, so we'll move right along with the articulation of the figure. Now each shoulder has a shoulder guard, and they are very pliable, so they don't get in the way, they don't hinder anything at all. They're actually really nice. Very similar to what Star Wars Black Series does with their like Stormtrooper pauldrons and stuff, where it's just snapped in where the joint snaps in, and it follows it around, and it bends pretty well. So that's gonna allow the arms to move freely completely. So you can move the arms forward all the way, and it's very tight joints when it comes to the arms. No issues there. It holds the weight. You can hold the whole figure in his hand as well, and he'll hold the weight. Now he might lean forward a little bit, but you just gotta adjust the ankles and the legs to get him balanced. The arms will move up all the way up, no issues there, and you can balance him. And then the arms will spread outwards all the way. Very nicely done, both arms, so that looks good. We do get a bicep swivel, very massive bicep swivel, and that moves very well too. Very tight, so that's always great to see very tight joints when it comes to heavy big figures. We do get double jointed elbows, but the massiveness of the bicep and the forearm only allows the arm to bend at a 90-degree angle. So that's what you get. I'll take it. It's great. I didn't expect his forearm to touch his bicep, so no issues there. And it holds the pose just fine. As for the torso, we get an ab crunch / diaphragm joint combination, which is cool. The range isn't anything spectacular like a Spider-Man figure would. We don't need that type of bending and motion, but he does bend well enough to get him into different poses. So you do get some motion there at the torso abdominal area, and of course diaphragm. As you can see here, I put him in like a little slight bending pose, and he looks good. As for the legs, the leg will kick forward all the way that far, so that looks good. And then we do get that thigh swivel, which is nice. There's no squeaking or nothing, but it's still very tight. Then we get the double jointed knee, which I know the knees are a big commotion and big issue lately, and I did have to tighten it the way that Robo did. Tighten his in his video. Once I did that, it was just fine. Right now it's fine, but I'm sure if you keep moving it back and forth, it's gonna loosen up, and you'll have to you'll have to tighten it again. But as you can see, it's not going down on its own. As for the ankles, they do go forward and back, and they have a rocker. The rocker isn't so deep and heavy, so keep that in mind. He does have those big discs on the side there, as his that's just the design of his metal design, I don't know, of his feet, so those kind of get in the way. But here's just a little dynamic pose I try to do here, just to kind of get him in a little pose. It's not the greatest, but just something real quick I threw together. And then going back to the leg will go all the way. He can actually do a split. I didn't do a split in the video, but you can definitely have him do a split if you wish. Here's one more pose I put together real quickly. Try to get him in a walking pose where he's kind of like making a fist. And it's pretty cool. I like it. I mean, I'm sure if I would have spent more time on it, I would have accomplished this a little bit better. And I'm sure others could do better than this. But I'm pretty content with something I put together in like a couple minutes. So pretty cool. And he's balanced pretty much on one foot there. So here's a quick look at him next to some action figures. I got Omega Sentinel, I got Wolverine, Cyclops, and Charles Xavier. Look how massive this figure is. Look how small they look. They don't even reach his knees. They're under his knees. They're at his shins. Yeah, pretty big figure Sentinel is. You can see that the scale is very good. It's not as big as they show him in the box art. I mean, they made him so massive in the box art. But yeah, it's definitely a very nice scale. And this is the biggest Sentinel we'll probably ever get, ever. So definitely is a very nice piece to have. You could just see this puts it into perspective. But like I mentioned earlier, again, you don't really know how big this figure is until you get him in hand. Even this here, having these figures stood next to him, yeah, you can kind of get an idea of how big he is. But again, you got to experience it for real. For sure, you got to experience it. So very cool. You can see there, you can definitely display him with a lot of X-Men characters. And here I went ahead and put Wolverine in his hand. You could definitely fit an entire figure in his hand. Goes to show how big his hand is. Wolverine's a shorter character, so obviously if you put like Colossus in his hands, it's going to look a lot bigger in his hands, and his hands will look smaller. But it's still pretty big. You can see he's holding him just fine. I also went ahead and put Cyclops on his shoulders, Captain Morgan style. And this is just to show you guys, you know, his size next to his head or his shoulders. You could definitely, you know, see how big Sentinel is once again. Just showing some more detail here at the bottom of the feet. They went ahead and painted the thrusters at the bottom of his feet yellowish white, so that's pretty cool. And just to add some bigger figures here, I wanted to show you guys next to some Build-A-Figures. We have a Maestro Hulk figure and Mr. Hyde Build-A-Figure. And here he is next to some Hot Toy figures, just to put his size into perspective once again. We have Thanos and Captain America. Keep in mind, Captain America is 12 inches tall. Thanos is a lot bigger than Cap. They don't even reach Sentinel's chest, so that just gives you an idea. And then here's a look at the Build-A-Figure, the Toy Biz Build-A-Figure Giant Man next to the Sentinel. So Toy Biz Giant Man Build-A-Figure is the same size as one Haslab Sentinel leg. Alright, so let's get into the features that this thing gives you. We have light up features, so we got a little panel on the back side of the figure. That just pops right off. And then you got to unscrew the little panel there for the batteries. You need 2 AAA batteries, and then that gives you the light up eyes and chest. Now, when you first press the button, you're kind of anticipating or expecting some sounds, but there is no sounds with this. I don't really care for that. It's just something that your body, I guess, just kind of expects. Because I was like, whoa, where's the sound? But yeah, no sound, and I don't mind that. It's not like I really need sound coming out of this thing. The lights are cool enough. You know, whenever you want to show a friend. I'm definitely not going to keep batteries indoors so they can, you know, corrode over time. So I'll leave that empty. But it's worth noting that when when you move the head side to side, you're going to lose some of the eyes or the lights going through the eye. At least one eye will lose light. It's because the light bulb only faces forward. So when you move the head, it's not going to get the light at each eyeball. Also, his wrist hinges and swivels, and then his hands have finger articulation at every joint or knuckle on the finger. You can bend it, so a lot of range of motion with the hands. Is very cool. I like that. We don't really get this type of articulation with Marvel Legends nowadays, but obviously it's needed on a massive figure like this. So here's a look at the accessories that he comes with all in one shot. We have all 3 heads, and we have the tendrils and the battle damage hand. Alright, so here is tier number 3. We have the female Prime Sentinel. So this was unlocked at the 3rd tier, of course. And then we have Bastion. Bastion was actually already included with the Sentinel. That was not a tier or nothing. You're going to get him either way. And it came with the male Prime Sentinel head sculpt swap there. 2 bonus exclusive figures that come with the Sentinel and only with the Sentinel. I don't think they're going to release these separately, but who knows? I mean, anything's possible. So these figures are both very, very nice. They're pretty simple. They're on bodies that we've seen before, so I'm not really going to go into these, but I want to give you guys a good look at the figures. you definitely can see them here. But if you want a full review, I don't think I'm gonna do that. If it's demanded a lot in the comment section, I'll do separate videos and review them for you guys for sure. But if if this is good enough for you guys, then we'll leave it at that. But I love the head sculpt on Bastion. It looks phenomenal. It looks so good and menacing. So very dope figures. You can see them here. I put them on the Sentinel's hands. Yeah, I don't know what else I can say to just convince everyone of how beautiful this piece is. It's Hasbro Marvel Legends' first ever Haslab, and for the first one ever, it's not perfect, but it's definitely not terrible either. Alright guys, and that's going to do it. That wraps up my video of the Haslab Sentinel. Hopefully this doesn't end up being too long, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Even if you watched the other Haslab Sentinel reviews before, I appreciate the support to the channel. Leave a like, comment down below your thoughts, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Share the video, do all that good stuff. As always everyone, take care, take it easy, and have a good one.